What up, guys? Sorry, I started getting the stream prepped a little bit early. Didn't realize it actually posted up. Showed things were waiting, and it should have been up a little bit ago, but I apologize about that. But as you guys can see by the thumbnail, decided to, I went down to my local hobby shop down here, play things, etc. today, and decided to pick up a new car. So I figured, you know what, rather than putting together like a regular video, an unboxing video and stuff like that, you know, everybody wants to see the thing get ran anyway. So we're going to unbox it here live. But also, I'm going to show you guys these things. While I was down there at my local hobby shop, I'm going to turn this light down a little bit. It looks a little bit bright right here. Anyway, I seen these boxes on their counter, and I'm like, what in the world are those things? What's up, Gaines? How's it going? So I see these things sitting on his counter, a bunch of these things. I'm like, what are they? I looked at them, and they are Arma Felony Christmas ornaments. They actually have a little stub on top, and you can hang them from your tree. If you guys ever seen them, I never saw them before. And whenever I got the car, he gave me a bunch of these. So I want to figure out something to ask, maybe during the live stream here while we're doing this. And I'm going to give a few of these things away because I thought they were pretty cool, and somebody else out there might like them. So we'll do that here at some point too. What's up, Southeast Alaska? How's it going, buddy? Addicted? How's it going, man? Hope everybody's having a good day today. Yeah, another thing, I know I always get a lot of people, from across the pond, and anytime I'm doing the lives, it's usually later in the evening, and you guys are in bed. So I started this one today a little bit earlier, and figured, see who wants to come along. Maybe some of you guys are bored at work or off today. I'm on call, like I said before. Pretty much I'm on call Monday through Friday, and today's been a slow day and been quiet. So I figured today was a good day to pick up a new car and bring you guys along. What's going on, Big Owls? Scott, what's up, man? RC for us, what's going on, buddy? So obviously this is what today's about. That's right. I got rid of the Big Rock. I had that is now in the hands of Speed Psycho. And I don't have any, other than the Max, I didn't really have any Forest lines. Now, any of you guys that have been around for a while, I had the V1 Creighton 4S. And what's going on, Froggy? Haven't seen you in a bit, buddy. How's it going? But what's up, Commander? See, I think you were just saying you don't want to fall to the dark side, right there, buddy? Guys, any guys that never seen Commander Ace thing in his channel, definitely go check him out too. He's a great dude. But anyway, so I had the V1 Creighton 4S, and that car was a nightmare when I first got it. There were so many problems with that thing between differentials, drive shafts, and just a mixture of things. When the car ran good, it was a ton of fun. It had a nice amount of power with the 4S system in there with the lightweight platform. But I had so many problems with the differential, and I had to do so much stuff to that car just to get one bash out of it, because that rear diff and everything just kept blowing apart time and time again. I remember yeah. So whenever Arma now released the V2, I guess it is, of the 4S line, I was a little bit hesitant for a while, and I've been watching some of the guys run theirs, like Rich Strooper Bash and RC Dude, and some guys running these things, and also RC for us, Michael. He's got the Creighton 4S. Also, guys, if you guys haven't checked him out, definitely go check out RC for us. Really nice guy. He's been putting together some great content, great videos. But I've been seeing him running his Creighton 4S, and I know Rich has got the Outcast. Anyway, everybody's been having a ton of fun with these things, and the drivetrain's been holding up great. Now, the chassis has always been a little bit of the plastic chassis on heavy bashers have always been a little bit of a gray area. Like if you beat them really hard, the chassis do tend to, you can obviously break them. And whenever I had the Creighton 4S and even the Typhon 3S and all those, I had a stack of chassis at one point. Whenever I could find them on eBay or anywhere for, whatever you could find them for like $19 to $22, I would order like 3, 4, 5 of those things at a time just to have extra chassis because they were constantly snapping. Try to kitchen here on the chat here. What's up, Rogue Factor? How's it going? I appreciate you dropping in. So anyway, what is up, Alden? Haven't seen you in a bit, Alden Cuss. How's you doing, buddy? So anyway, they've made some changes, obviously, to the car. And I mean, after going over and seeing what they'll change to this thing, I mean, they definitely fixed a lot of the problems. Now, the chassis is always going to be, could always be a potential problem. However, and this was one thing that honestly changed my mind on this, was seeing what M2C Racing put together for this thing. And I just spoke with Avery today, and he's going to send me out one of the prototypes. But they put together a bash bar for this thing. Now, any guys that haven't seen the bash bar, I do have a picture of it. I don't have one in hand yet. I know the ring light's creating a weird thing. Anyway, from what I've seen in the pictures on this thing, it looks like they tried to make it really lightweight and made some changes to it. I think it's going to work out awesome. And I know some of the guys have already got a few bashes in with the new bash bar on theirs and has been working out pretty nicely. So, sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with comments here as we're going along. Addicted first pack, or even really. You broke the rear, split the rear section of the drive shaft during during a speed run. Yeah, I don't know how much the drive shafts in these things are really balanced for speed. That I'm not really sure on. But anyway, trying to keep up with chat as we're going along here, guys. But anyway, so I got the blue one. We're going to get out of the box here in a second. But, you know, when I was even at the store here today looking at it, you know, a lot of the issues that I had with mine was the original drive shafts. Now, as far as speaking on bashing, the original drive shafts did not hold up well, especially on the under 4S. I mean, the drive shafts were constantly blowing apart and having issues. The spur gear had issues with that. And hopefully this composite locking for the slipper, because the slipper clutch was always a little bit of a problem. Sometimes it got finicky with adjusting or keeping it slipping right or not slipping or slipping too much. But also was the discs, because the original ones were all plastic and those things just shredded apart constantly. Now, thankfully, they did the new version. They're all out of metal gears. So that is a huge plus. So again, we're going to see how this thing goes. And obviously one of the other huge factors on the old 4S line was the shocks. And even that was on the 3S line. But even on the 4S line for the shocks, I mean, the shocks, by the time you pulled this thing out of the box, you already had a puddle of oil laying, you know, in the box half the time. So the shocks, I'm really glad that they went with the aluminum shocks on this thing. So hopefully this one treats me a little better. I was honestly I was very hesitant, and that's why I only got it till now. Was hesitant on buying one of these was because of my experience with the V1. But I seen they made a lot of changes on the new one. So hopefully this one I don't end up in the same boat I did with the first grade. But this one is now longer. This one is 17.72 inches wide. 44 millimeters wider than the previous version, it says. I don't know the length, but, right here. Now see it. So this one is now 28 millimeters longer than the previous version. So longer and quite a bit wider than the first run of, you know, the Outcast here. So use the tight finger bearing center. Checking out some of the comments here, guys. Does the video look too bright on your end, or is it just my computer that I look like I'm lit too much? Plastic drive is such a nightmare. It left a real... Yes. Dude, the plastic drive shafts and the whole plastic diff gears that they put in these things were a nightmare. I mean, I couldn't believe that they honestly put a plastic drivetrain, you know, with the diff gears and the input gear and all that in a 4S car. Like, it was kind of surprising, but at any rate, they did it, and hopefully now they made some changes. I have not pulled this thing out of the box at all yet, guys. I cut the tape, and that has been it. So We'll go through it piece by piece here. What's up, going? Dude, what's happening? Sorry, looks okay. All right. Throwing a fog. All right, I was just curious. The light, it always looks so much different on my computer versus what I see on replay. I don't know what it is. Is the N2C bash bar being made for Creighton Forest? It's going to be made for both. The bash bar is going to be, they're making one for the Outcast and one for the Creighton. So it's not going to be just for one. They are doing this for both. And of course, it's going that way. But that's sort of what it looks like. This goofy ring light. But at any rate, guys, that's what it's going to kind of look like. Some of you guys have already seen. A couple of guys got their hands on them already. But they are making one for both cars. So, depending on whichever one you have, there will be one. What's up, Jeremy? What's going on, buddy? So we'll do the first boring pieces here. Get rid of the box. Know what this is. Got the old SLT3 transmitter. These ones aren't too bad. But obviously, I will be connecting this thing up. For the first run, I might take this transmitter out and run it with it. But I will be putting this on my DX5 because I like my DX5C. It's been good to me so far. What's up, Black Sheep? How's it going, bud? So, now, I'm trying to think about, maybe you guys can give me some insight here on a good, I'm not trying to hold suspense here, but I'm trying to think of a good way to do some giveaway, to give a few of these away on some questions. Some sort of fun question on the Felony 6S Christmas ornament. I'm probably going to give 2 of them away today, and then maybe on the next live stream sometime this weekend, I'll do 2 more. I just thought they were cool when I had them done, and I'm like, kind of unique, so. No, Ben, no way. Chad is not getting the main voyage on this one either. There's going to be somebody that hopefully knows how to drive on this one. Yeah, let's not jinx this already, guys. Let's not, I'm not going to go to that park and crash this one into a wall this time on the first run. I can tell you that. We're going to either go, I don't know, either down to the BMX track. Hopefully, I'd like to get back down there again here soon. Or we might just bust a new ramp out with Trevor and give this thing some ramp launches the first run. See how it goes. But anyway, of course, you got your normal get started kit and your technical pack. All that stuff that usually nobody really reads. But you got in here your wrenches, your extra shock spacers, a couple cheap Allen keys that you don't really want to use because you'll just strip your screws out if you do. And that is one of the first and most important things I learned in this hobby, guys, was getting proper tools from the start. And it saves you so much frustration and stripped out screws and getting yourself a good set of, MIPs or something. That's what I've been using, the MIPs. And I mean, I have so much less problems with screws and stripping stuff out. It's just crazy. But get this out of here. Get this box out of here. So obviously I was looking at I was going between the Creighton and the Outcast. I got a lot of long wheelbase cars and extra long wheelbase cars with the Creighton XL and all that. And I owned the Creighton 4S, the V1, but I never got the Outcast 4S. And even during then, everybody seemed like they had so much better luck with the Outcast, even on the V1. So I really love this blue, so I had to go with that. What the hell is really working those ankles? Yes, Chad is going to sit down on this one. He is not coming to play today. Where's the first bash bar? Not cross. What? I'm not sure what you mean there, RC for us. D's Trucks RCs, what's up, man? Where did I get the ornaments? From my hobby shop. I was down there whenever I was picking this thing out. They had them at their hobby shop. So some of your local hobby shops, if they're, a larger, Horizon dealer, they may be getting them because my hobby shop told me that Horizon sent them all of these, and they sent them a whole bunch of them apparently. So, and he told me to grab, whatever I wanted. So I grabbed 4 of them to figure somebody else out there could enjoy, throwing them on their Christmas tree this year. Change out your steering servo and send it. Yeah, well, that's one thing. I'll see what the servo's like in this thing, and I'll run it until it dies. I'm just kind of like that a lot of times with certain things. I'll change out immediately, if it seems like. Oh, hey, Trevor, I didn't even see you were in here, buddy. Trevor's in the house. Yeah, the motocross track I drove past when I was down there today, I looked around and it looks like they did a little bit of grooming down there and they got rid of a lot of the weeds. So we might even take this thing down there for its first little rip and see how it works out. Yeah, I was looking at the Creightons. The teal looked pretty nice. The black and blue one looked pretty nice. But anyway, this is the best part of any car. So, I mean, guys, that blue is just so sharp looking. Really love the body on this Outcast. And, sorry, I know with the way the camera's set up, I'm going to have to try and get things maneuvered again. Like I said, guys, after just kind of starting back on the live streams, I got to get things set up. But I might try to set up at least one more camera in here, depending on what we're doing things and how we're doing things. But I appreciate that, Addicted. So, did I miss something in the comments? I still haven't bought tires for my Granite. Froggy, your tires have been blown for how long? My servo didn't stop, but I couldn't take it and put. What's wrong with the servo in these? Are they really slow? Are they weak, I'm assuming? How about the first time? So, I appreciate you dropping in there. Trying to think about what a good way to do, how we could do this. But I don't want to do something. I thought about doing something like, first person to remember what the first car I ever featured on the channel was or something along those lines. But somebody drop some ideas in here. I'll think about something. Weak, very weak. All right, well, like I was just talking about, you guys will see, the video I just posted up today on the Creighton and the Sledge, the differences in the things that drove me crazy about the two of them. Every car has its weak points right out of the box, every one of them. And I think, many people drop comments in this video today. A lot of manufacturers kind of intentionally design flaws in them, obviously, so that they can sell upgrade parts, because that's where most of their money is, I believe, is just the upgrade parts and getting them fixed again. Because they know, everybody's going to go out there and break these things. So, that's where the money, I think, is in the parts and the upgrade parts, obviously. But, like I said in the video, my biggest beef with the Traxxas was the price. The fact that, it's $250 more than a Creighton, and you're not getting any better of a drivetrain. And that's what was kind of my irritation with the car. So, just keep the parts hot. Nothing wrong with the servo. It's just another brainwash. All right, Frank, I don't know. Just switch from that video to this one. I appreciate it, Black Sheep. All right, so anyway, we'll get the body off of here. We'll do some things. Nice body. Probably have to. You know what? Like I said before, I tried reinforcing bodies before numerous times, and it helps a little bit, but they all break inevitably. I have lost my patience with reinforcing bodies anymore because you put the time into shoe goo and drywall tape or whatever, and they still always end up just falling apart anyway. But tell you what, the suspension, man, I remember what my Creighton suspension felt like, and this is just a night and day difference. Suspension feels a lot better, a lot more plush. It's actually got some reaction to it further down. Suspension feels pretty nice. Got the same little fan on the motor, which was actually nice that they actually did, was include the fan on this car, because what was it, the So many other cars they release and they put the heat sink on the motor, but they don't put a fan on it. It's like, come on, guys, you just spent $500, $600, $700 on a car, and you can't even include a $12 fan on the heat sink. So it's nice to actually put the fan on there. I'm sure it's not going to last that long. It's going to explode on the first massive impact, but at least it's on there, so that's a plus. People at random for the ornaments. Choose people at random. Trying to think. Has been 9 as a group. Okay, so it's like a lot of them where when you're sitting on the carpet or sitting on the ground, there isn't a ton of reaction, but when you're driving, it's fine. There's many servos. I mean, and some of them I've had like that for a long time. And, I'm sure some of you in here might think I'm crazy for saying this. I don't know why everybody has this thing for fast servos on a basher. I don't get it. I don't get it whatsoever. I understand a strong servo, one that can take hard impacts and hits and steer and has some torque. But why are you concerned with speed on a basher? I mean, on a racer, obviously I get it. On a basher, I'm more looking for something that holds up on those hard smacks and hits. I'm not that concerned with the speed so much. I'm more concerned about the durability of it and just the torque. Because everybody's out there always wanting to show how fast the servo is, and it's like, well, that's great, but how does it handle on impacts? And that was some of the things. I bought one of those $70, the aluminum servos. Everybody was big hype on them. It wasn't the Raws. It was something else. But I can't remember what servo it was, but I spent like $70 on the servo, threw it in there, and it literally lasted 2 bashes, and all the gears in the motor, everything just exploded in the thing. Yeah, it was fast, but it was junk. I mean, as far as a basher. So that's my opinion on servos, guys. Speed is not a concern on a basher. However, torque and durability is. And that's what I've been putting in there, those Power HD. They're blue, the 23 kilogram. And I think it was Rich Duper Bash was the first one that told me about them. And I mean, those things have just been a beast. I have not killed one yet in any of my 6S cars. They have been awesome. So, at some point somewhere. Yeah, Frank, I completely agree. I don't know why everybody thought that, speed was an important thing. On a race vehicle, I understand speed, or on a street car, possibly. But at least me, even on the speed run cars, I turned my steering rates way down. Now, maybe it's because I'm not that experienced with speed runs, but I would rather have a slower reacting servo, especially on a speed run car, because when you're going over 100 mile an hour and you touch that thing, it's going to dart off really fast. So I was always cranking my speed way down on the servo on a speed run car. So the only place I can really see a fast servo being important is on a race buggy or something like that. Other than that, you need to look for something with good torque and durability, the way that it's built, and also making sure that servo is up off of the chassis, because if that servo is sitting right on the chassis, every time that chassis takes a hard impact, it's just transferring all that to the servo, and it kills them really fast. So as you guys seen, like I did on my the new XL build, I put extra spacers under the servo to get it up off of the chassis, just so that it wouldn't slam off the chassis anymore. Because most of the stock ARMA mounts, even on the EXB servo mount, they put the servo, I mean, you can barely slide a piece of paper or 2 pieces of paper underneath that servo. It's way too close to the chassis. So that's why I always put extra spacers under the servo in the mount to get it up off that chassis a little bit so that it doesn't damage the servo as easy. I'm going to look at some comments here for a moment. Raw 500 X Max and love it. I've never tried one of the Raws. I've seen a lot of people liking the Raws. But again, I didn't see the durability of them. I was seeing everybody always flipping their things really fast and showing how fast the wheels turn. And I'm like, okay, but how does it hold up under durability? Personally, I don't know. I never ran one. Yeah. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on servos. Everybody can have their own feelings or disagree or agree with it. But it just seems to make the most sense. But anyway, let's get back to the car now. Let's see if I can turn on this light, if it helps at all with light on the car. Yeah, a little bit. So first look at this thing from my first car. I mean, the drive shafts are obviously one of the first big changes and a huge improvement over the V1. Really like that they actually put in the CVD slider style drive shafts, because I actually had purchased these for my V1 Creighton. I put these on it. I didn't have drive shaft problems anymore after I put them on, but I honestly didn't keep the car around a terrible length of time after that to know if they're still holding up. My 6S has always used the Zuski Pro. I've never used a dust cover on any of my cars. Personally, I understand that. I mean, it helps obviously keep the big chunks of dirt out of there, and especially can keep rocks out of there. Now, I think it all depends more on where you're running them at. You got to kind of have that give and take, because you are restricting a little bit of airflow. I mean, I don't think a ton, depending on the cover, but obviously the plus is you're keeping a lot of that small gravel out of there from getting into gears, and especially on, any of the center drive shaft like this, because so many times you get rocks stuck underneath the center drive shaft, wears through there and cuts your center drive shaft in half. I've never ran any on mine just because usually you can kind of hear it, and I keep an ear out, for any kind of weird noises coming from there. If you hear anything grinding or making noise, and I'll take the car and shake it upside down, let everything fall out, and continue to run. But I've never ran a dust cover to really notice or know if honestly the car gets warmer with it or not. But I can definitely see the pluses to it. But I just didn't like the fact that everything's enclosed, and now every time you got to undo something or turn it on and off, you're undoing this dust cover. It just seemed like a little bit of extra messing around that I didn't feel like dealing with, but maybe I was just being a baby. I don't know. Great wheels on the center. I tried to just keep my Pro X-Max work. I'm still on my X-Max. I'm running the black upgraded version of the Traxxas servo in that thing. Now, I was killing servos in that thing left and right there for a while, and it was my servo saver that was in the X-Max. But ever since I put in the hot racing servo saver setup in that X-Max, I haven't had another issue with my servo. Now, it definitely it does its job. It's a little bit looser than the stock, which is good. You do get a lot more movement, especially if the car's sitting on the ground and you turn the wheels. You can see the servo saver doing its job. You don't get quite as much steering reaction from it, but it's not killing the servos, and it is doing its job. So I'm going to continue to run it because I'd rather have a tiny bit less steering and not killing $100 servo every couple runs. So that's been the trade-off, and I'm sticking with that because it's been working well. So anyway, all right, we're going to do one real quick here. And what I'm going to do is I'll drop my email address down here in the comments. Now, let's see here. See if there's anybody. You know what? I'm going to scroll through the comments here. I'm going to look away. I'm going to scroll through the comments, and whoever the last person is at the bottom of chat. Now I'm going to scroll up and down, so I don't know who it's going to land on, but whoever the last person is in the chat and scrolling, I will be the first one to give away. So I'm going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Who's the last person? Black Sheep. you got yourself a felony Christmas ornament. So that's the first one, guys. So Black Sheep, I'll drop my email down in here. And like I said, guys, I'm going to do another one of these here in a little bit. If you want it, Black Sheep, that is. If you don't, let me know, and we'll give it to somebody else. I don't know if you even have a felony, but I don't have a felony, but I have the infraction now, and it's still pretty cool. I mean, you don't see too many RC Christmas ornaments. What's up, H. Riviera? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, early Merry Christmas, Black Sheep. Kansas City RC. I know. I'm going to do something better for the second one here. But I just figure I'm going to scroll through the comments, and whatever the arrow lands on is who will get it. But all right, sir. Here's my email address. Whoops, maybe. And shoot me an email with your address, and I will get the first one sent out. And whoever wins the second one, if you don't see this, go ahead and shoot me an email. RC from Ohio. Oh, that's right. You're not too far away from me, Black Sheep. You're in Marion, Ohio. Dude, we got to get together at some point. We got to plan something somewhere. And everybody that's local, somewhere close, because I'm near Pittsburgh, guys. And anybody that is somewhat local, we need to plan something for somewhere, even just getting together at some random place with some ramps or whatever. You're in Youngstown. You're only an hour. You're an hour away from me. Oh, shit, you're in Columbus. Dude, why did I not? I know I've had conversations with you multiple times, RC for us. I did not know you were right in Columbus for some reason. I talk to a lot of different people, and sometimes I think I forget where people are. Yeah, I got to have my Red Bull down here. I'm starting to convert. I have a big monitor coming. I'm kind of turning this into a little office area and a gaming room now, because I bought a new gaming laptop whenever I was still traveling, just to be able to play with and mess with when I was on the road. And I haven't got to really use it too much, but it's far better than a PS4, because me and Trevor and some buddies, we get on Call of Duty at night and stuff like that and have some fun and chat. But anyway, so guys, back to the car and kind of getting sidetracked. Shocks. Anyway, the suspension feels great on this car. I'm sure you guys have seen lots of videos on this thing, and I'm not bringing anything new to the table. But chassis, still the same old chassis now. From what I've heard, obviously this chassis is longer. So the old chassis, from what I heard, does not work on here because it is a little bit longer of a chassis. Now the A-arms on this thing look 100 times better than the first version. These look a lot heavier. The A-arms look like they should hold up pretty well. As long as it's decent plastic, they look like they should hold up pretty decent. The A-arms look nicely made. But, everything else is still a different kind of design on the front bulkheads now. But it looks like they come apart the same way with the screws underneath. But the bulkheads definitely are different with the way that they're designed in the front and rear. They're real flat. Before they always had the kind of bulge, but they definitely did change the design on the bulkheads in that whole layout. I'm going to have to cut off and modify this connector, of course, and make it one. I'm only going to run one 4S battery in here. You get the other bro, we're not too. Yeah, I know. All of us aren't. Even Columbus isn't terribly far. Don't say it, but do you remember the first appearance? Oh. Froggy, I like where you're going with this. Honestly, dude, I had this thought yesterday. Because somebody asked about Chad. Yes, this is going to be a question for the next. So everybody think long and hard here. Because, Froggy, I was sitting here thinking about this. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I'm like, how did this whole Chad thing start? where did it come from? I was trying to remember like why it started, but it didn't originally really start directly with Chad. It just started with some bonehead doing stupid things and me kind of like asking like, dude, what are you doing? And yes, and I went and I just seen the video, scrolling through my videos. I remembered that's where this whole thing kind of started because it kind of spiraled out of nowhere and turned into Chad because I think I was talking to Speed Psycho and somebody else. And somebody said that dude seems like a Chad. And it went from there. Wait, what are we shipping to Bars? Wait, you'll meet up for a big bash collab. You better film it. Oh, we will definitely be filming it. Can you upgrade the V1 with the V2 upgrade shock tower? I don't think so. I mean, honestly, I don't know for sure. But the chassis is different on the V2, and the shock towers are different on the V2. So I'm almost willing to bet money that you cannot take any of the V2 stuff and slap it onto the V1 unless you are going to start with a whole new chassis and towers and everything. But they all look, it's completely different looking. Hold on, Trevor. Who's shipping me what? Black Sheep, Marion. I'm trying to look here. Should ask a question for the next tournament. Yeah, I went back. Yeah, it was back when we went. I was out in California and went out for a bash with Earl. And oh geez, no, I'm having a brain fart on who met us out there. It's terrible. I apologize. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. Trevor, who's shipping me something for you? A huge logo. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, your stickers, Black Sheep, your stickers are awesome, dude. We were talking about that because I love the sticker you put together for your channel. I mean, it just looks awesome. And me and Trevor talking about that. He's like, dude, you got a big logo of that because he wanted to put it on his ramp, and it does. It looks definitely give you an A++ on your design on your sticker because it looks awesome as a sticker and it's very unique. But anyway, okay, so we'll do the second giveaway on another ornament here in a moment. So everybody put on their thinking caps, and I'm hoping that I'm not forgetting the very first real appearance of Chad doing a Chad move on my channel. Let's see if anybody can remember what video that was, or what was the first appearance of Chad, and what did he do on the channel that kind of started this whole thing. Once I start seeing some stuff pop up here, I think you look at my comment and you'll find it. What was your comment? I remember you saying that there, Froggy. But I was trying to see what your comment was. Oh, yes. Yes. That's the first time I really remember this whole thing too, Struckiness. Wait a minute. No. You know, and that wasn't really Chad. The whole first real thing, Hold on. Okay. I'm trying to think. When I look back, when I thought as far as when Chad started, really with the whole thing with the channel, that the whole Cash No Bash, yes, was a character, but Chad was born, as far as what I remember and how this whole thing had started, was from him in the whole techno, throwing it in the trash. That was my first recollection. Is that what yours is too, Froggy, from what you remember? It's terrible. It's my videos, and I don't even remember the best thing, but that was my first really remember, and that's where I remember having a conversation with Speed and him saying something about that seems like a real Chad move, and that's how the whole thing started. So, is that the same thing you were thinking, Frog? Because that was my first real recollection of Chad starting out. But I honestly want to get a feel for everybody else here on if that's what you agree where Chad started. Because the whole thing with Chad spiraled so far out of control. Whether to bash or not to bash. You in the truck talking to him about bashing, whether to bash. Wow, I'm trying to remember that, dude. This is terrible. See, from all these different intros, I'm having a hard time. I remember that intro, but I didn't really think of it as Chad. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm going... You might be right, Frog, as far as the first time starting with this whole other alter ego person. But I know the whole real Chad thing started, and the name was given from the techno video. I do know that, and that's where it started from. So, Struckiness, I'm going to go with your comment on this. So, shoot me an email to the email address I dropped up in the comments with your address, and I'll get you one. And like I said, guys, I got 2 more of these. So, I'm going to do a couple more giveaways. I'm probably going to do another live sometime this weekend. And we'll do another, do a couple more. We'll give away a couple more of those things. What's up, Garage Life? We were just unboxing the Outcast 4S here. Just picked it up, went down to the local hobby shop today and picked up this bad boy. Hopefully it's going to be a bad boy. It doesn't give me a bunch of problems. Now, Avery at M2C Racing said he's going to send me out the new bash bar. So I'm debating on waiting till the bash bar can't speak, shows up, because I'm honestly afraid, like if I take it down to the motocross track and send it off the monster jumps or off of the ramp, I'm afraid I'm going to bust the chassis on the first run. I might not. I might be overthinking it and a little too worried, but I might wait till the bash bar gets here. It'll probably be here sometime this weekend. I'm assuming, because he's, M2C with their shipping. I mean, they have got some of the best and fastest shipping out of any company. So probably going to wait for the bash bar to show up, get that installed on here, and then take it out for its first rip and just go from there. But I'm going to go over the car, make sure everything's tight, cut off the extra connector because I don't need 2 battery leads. Probably crank the punch up because I think it was also Rich Duperbash. On his first runs, one of the things he wasn't really thrilled with on it was the brake. It was braking too hard. I think he turned down the brake strength, and he said, turn the punch up, and you'll love the thing. So it's probably what I'm going to go with, and then install the bash bar and go and have some fun with this thing. I think it'll be a lot of fun on a ramp. I haven't had, so one great thing about the 4S cars, man. I mean, you got 4S, which has got a decent amount of power, and they're light. So they're usually a lot of fun. Dude, you're not going to catch me from the... Oh, dude. No, that was definitely... That video got so many people laughing about that whole piece. And literally that intro I put together in like 5 minutes. I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth at night, and for some reason, the whole idea of the beard popped into my head. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have Chad visit us. What's up, Jackals? How's it going? Thank you for dropping in, man. But yes, that whole intro with me running down the stairs going, "You're never going to catch me, bro." I literally, after recording that and playing it back to myself, I felt like an idiot. I'm sitting there editing this, laughing at myself because the whole thing just was so goofy. But the whole thing started with the beard. And as you guys can see, I've kept it off. I got tired of the whole straps. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to shave this off for a while and try this, and maybe eventually get rid of all this. I don't know. But that's how that thing started. But that was comical, though, the whole piece of running down the stairs and Chad chasing after me. I thought it was kind of funny. I'm going to recite that one. Oh, my God, yes. That was hilarious. "You're never going to catch me, bro." I died. And that was all put together really quickly. And I thought, you know what, maybe I should be putting more time into this, recording some of these intros and a little more thought. But most of them have come out to be the best whenever you don't put a ton of thought into them. Like, literally, you get that idea of like, all right, well, this could be this could be funny, and you just do it. Half the time, it's been the ones that have come out the best. So, what's up, JC? How's it going, man? But yes, Black Sheep, if you have any of those stickers, Giants decals, we'd love to be able to put one on the ramp because it would look pretty cool on there. Hopefully, Trevor wants to head out this weekend because I'd like to take this thing back. I'd like to take this thing out, give it its first run, see how she holds up. I'm probably just going to go straight. I might just directly link this thing up to my DX5 and not even run this. I have a couple of these transmitters that just sit downstairs now. I don't even have them hooked up to anything anymore. But what is anybody else up to today? Anybody else got out and had some fun? But any other parts of the car? I'll turn this thing around here for a moment because I didn't even really look at the back end. And, you know, this was a question I got. Now, I don't know if any of the people that are on here that still have the Typhon or ever seen that video. I just noticed this thing's got sway bars on it. See, I'm terrible. I wasn't even looking that closely at the box. The wheelie bar doesn't look like too bad of a setup, except I'm probably going to take it off. And if you want to know why, it's because it's directly attached to the upper bulkhead. And if you land this thing on the back, now obviously I know the wing mount's pretty stiff too. I just don't like wheelie bars because anytime you crash them on the back too hard, it ends up creating too much extra pressure on the bulkheads and end up snapping them. I don't know. I might leave it on there for a run or two, but I might take it off because, you know, usually if you can control your wheelies, I mean, the wheelie bars are fun, but you know, if you can get them up there and keep them on the wing, I ain't that concerned about the wing. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So many people asked me when I had the Typhon 3S on what bumper I had on the front of it. And it was actually the rear bumper from the V1 Outcast 4S. Because the Typhon, they all use the same little hinge design. And they connected it up on there. And I did something with the mount. And that's what I had set up as my Typhon 3S front bumper. And it worked out great because it helped protect the shocks a lot and worked pretty nicely. And one big plus, the suspension doesn't have oil leaking out of it, and the bottom of my box is dry. So that's a huge step forward from the first versions of the 3S and 4S line. But it's like the rest of them. You know, it should be fun. Hopefully it holds up. We'll see how this motor plate holds together. I think, I'm trying to remember, and if anybody's in the comments right now, or Commander, or anybody else has seen the comments, if the M2C Racing motor plate and brace works on this version, I don't know, because I had it on my Big Rock, and I never bent the motor plate again on the 3S, because that M2C plate on there worked great. The motor mount that they had set up for this thing. About to take your new XL out and give her Oh, nice. Well, have fun with it, RC or Black Sheep. Yeah, I'm surprised, RC. This wing mount is quite stout on this thing. I guess one of the heaviest wing mounts on, especially on a 4S car I've seen. Should hold up pretty well as long as it doesn't snap off the top of the bulkhead. I'm okay with it. All right, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it looks like it's the exact same setup. So I'll probably be changing those things out as soon as change that out and put the other motor plate on once this one bends, because that's been, everybody always has problems with the spurs stripping out on these things or destroying their pinion. And they're like, why do I keep destroying them? It's because that motor plate has bent. 9 times out of 10, if you're destroying spurs and pinions on a 3S or 4S car repeatedly on one of the Armas, it's because either A, I mean, obviously, unless your mesh is really jacked up, or B, your motor plate is bent. Because as soon as that plate gets bent, now your meshes, your gears are only hitting on, 60% of the gear, and it destroys them in no time. So if you are going through spurs or pinions on a 3S car, check the motor plate or replace it, because most of the times that's where your problem is coming into play. Too many times that's what happens. It works, yes. All right. Well, that's good to know. I thought I remember hearing the guys talk about that they were using the same plate. Buy a new crawler. No, Froggy, I just got rid of, I don't know if you saw, but I just got rid of my axial rift. I just got rid of that. I don't have any crawlers at the moment. I haven't been stuck one yet. Yeah, the thicker, the M2C mods, it's made out of better aluminum and they don't bend. So, what's up, Eric? How's it going, buddy? I'm addicted. Yeah. I'm going to try it on this car, guys. Now, I've always had mixed feelings about cutting the slit in the bottom of these for 2 reasons. Number one, okay, so that slit is in there to let debris fall out, right? But it also now lets debris get in. Now, I know that obviously with the gear spinning, it's not going to let dirt in there that easily, but it seems weird that, number one, why hasn't Arma done it fast stock? I mean, they know that everybody's doing that. Now, I know it obviously, if you do get stuff in there, it lets the stuff out and it helps. But I just wonder if it starts collecting more or not. I've never done it to any mine because it kind of felt like I was letting more stuff in. Now, I know with the bash bars, that was one thing that Avery told me today, was that the bash bars are going to have the slit in it. So I'm going to cut the slit in it, and I'm going to try it and see. Like I said, I never ran it with it in there. I always kept it closed up just because I didn't like the idea of more dirt getting in there. And also, you were taking out more of the chassis, and now you were creating an extra weak point in the chassis. And I was already having enough problems with the chassis breaking all the time that I was afraid to make the chassis even weaker. So that's why I always kind of steered away from doing that. But I'm going to give it a try on this one and see how she goes. If the chassis break easier, I'm going to blame it on you guys. How about that? If I can't blame it on Chad, I'll blame it on somebody. I mean, come on. Slipper dust is real. Yes. Slipper dust is real. I get that. I mean, letting that stuff out of there does make sense. I get the idea, and it sounds like a good idea. I've just been afraid of weakening the chassis or letting more dirt in there. Because sometimes, you guys know, like, you guys seen what I mean, I know everybody encounters dust, but sometimes, man, that motocross track, I mean, no joke, guys. There's been times I've been down there, and there was literally like 4-5 inches of just powder. It's like moon dust. And you're just poof. And getting tons of that in there is what, kind of I was worried about. What's up, Raven? What's up, Bars? I like your vids. My bash spot is small, so I need, dude. Right, the Mojave is one of the most fun, almost unbreakable cars I have ever had. I mean, they don't fly that well, as far as big jumps, they're just not intended for that. The giant body tends to parachute and float around, but as far as durability goes, you cannot go wrong with the Mojave. I mean, you can just beat the snot out of those things, and they just keep rolling. I have a ton of fun with my Mojave. In fact, I want to get that thing out here hopefully this week and take it out and give her a rip, because I haven't had the Mojave out for a little bit, and that thing is just a blast. Yeah, I could tape it up, but I'm gonna cut a slit in it. I'm gonna cut a hole in it, and if I encounter more problems, I'll just yell at everybody else. I mean, come on. Not really, but it's just kind of funny. It's just like everybody on the other day whenever I crashed the Creighton XL on the first bash. You know, I'm sitting there going, I can't believe I did that. I cannot believe I destroyed that car on the first run. And I thought, oh, well, this is a good time for Chad to take the blame on this one. So that's why I put together that quick intro saying, guys, I'm clearing my name now because I had nothing to do with this. I screw up all the time, and I have no problem taking blame for it. I know everybody makes mistakes. You all have those days where you go out and think you're just going to go out and, you know, have a great bash, have fun, send it to the moon, and within 30 seconds you crash it, break everything up, and you're done. It's like, well, that was very unsuspenseful. I'll give it a whirl on this one. What's up, RC Shorts? How's it going, bud? So, anyway, guys, yeah, so we got an Outcast 4S to add to the channel. I was saying I was getting rid of a few cars. I got rid of the Big Rock, and I got rid of the Rift, and I'm going to get rid of my Outcast 6S. I'm gonna put it up for sale or something. It needs a little bit of work. The front diff is making a little bit of a clicking noise, but I'm gonna get rid of it because I don't feel like I don't honestly feel like working on it anymore. I've just kind of, I don't know. The Outcast 6S has been a weird car for me. It's been another one of those cars where I had so many stupid little problems happen that it kind of made me not want to deal with it. And part of it wasn't really the car itself fault. It was like when the ESC went bad and I burned up 3 servos, within a month or less on that car until I found out that the ESC was bad. And then I kept having diff problems because the diff case had gotten cracked and I didn't realize it. Just weird things had gone on with the car, but I've been kind of just wanting to cycle out some of the cars that I've had fun with and, want to try some different stuff. And that's why I'm making room for this one. And yes. Okay, I'm on my main channel. Oh, what's up, Christian? How's it going, bud? Broke a drive shaft on the ground and did that doing a wheelie. Oops. Oh, I forgot you had 2 different channels, dude. Does the 4S lineup come with the jumper, or is that separate? What do you mean the jumper? You mean the power jumper? Yeah, if you're talking about the power, I'm not sure which thing you're talking about, but as far as like your power jumper comes with everything, this one actually comes with the fan on the motor, which is nice. A lot of the things from the first version to this one, they definitely made a lot of changes to. I'm digging it. I like this whole little flip design on being able to remove the tab, which is cool because on the V1, to take out this little red spacer down here. Sorry, I know you guys probably can't see this that well. But on the V1 version, to take out the motor, there was a screw on the chassis right about there that you had to remove. And, well, wait a minute. What is this? I might be speaking too soon here, guys. So they still have that. Sorry, I'm learning as I'm going here too. Now I'm curious what this thing is. I don't see it. So, I'm not sure what this little lever here does by the motor plate now. Or is that for like, no, it can't be for shorter. Anybody has one of these in the comments? What does this little lever near the motor do? I haven't looked into it enough yet. What's up, Gator? How's it going, buddy? Thank you. What's up, Shane? Yeah, that's what I cut off the jumper and just make one plug because all I ever do is run a single 4S in any of the cars, and just like I run a single 6S in any of them. I get rid of this because honestly, like, yeah, I've tried tying these things up and doing everything with them, and they always end up doing is leaving another place for it to come unplugged and for your car to shut off in the air. So since I always run one battery in any of my cars anyway, I get rid of this. Eliminates a tiny bit of weight, eliminates a little bit of stuff hanging around inside, and it's easier to deal with. It swivels and lets you pull the power. But why? But if you still have to take out that red screw in the bottom, which is what my question was. I thought that that's what this was doing for a second. But I don't understand the benefit of it, because I thought for a second that this came out and allowed the motor to slide out easier, but you still have the screw that retains that whole red block that holds it in there anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking, which is very possible. But I don't see the point of it. If there's already that red bar in there that has the screw going in the bottom of the chassis. Can you explain where to, what? Yeah, JM, that's probably what I'll end up doing too. I don't see the point of this thing at all, or what exactly it does. Can you explain where to? Basically, what you want to do, you'll see inside the chassis here. If you pull your motor mount or your motor stuff out, down here on the bottom of the chassis, right where the spur gear rides inside, you want to cut a small slit. Usually everybody does, like, I don't know, anywhere from like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of a slot so that your gear is basically exposed in here, and the dirt, dust, and debris will fall out of there instead of it staying inside the case and grinding up. Like I said, guys, I've never done it to any of mine, but we're going to do it to this one. See how it goes. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I'm not sure what the benefit of that is, if it's just meant for shorter packs. Because I know on the older version, like, they just had that plastic piece that sat in there that's screwed permanently in place. Now this one swivels, but I don't know if that's just so that you don't have to take that all the way out and unscrew it to pull your motor, I guess. Because the old design was fixed and you had to take an extra screw out. I don't know if they did that just so that you don't have to take that screw out, an extra screw out, is what it looks like to me. Oh, come on, RCE Frost. You want me to read this? I ain't reading that book. I'm going to sit here and guess and tear stuff apart and figure it out on my own. That is one thing, guys. I'm one of those people. Growing up as a kid, my parents would buy me, models and things like that I was really big into, building stuff. And I was never one of those people to read a manual. They told me I would always get the model out. I would literally chuck the instructions to the side and just put it together and figure it out myself. And from what I remember, and they told me at least, I always did a pretty good job at it. And that's how I've always been. I've always been one of those people that need to figure it out myself. Following instructions and stuff like that. I can sit there and read it a million times, but until I physically see it and do it in my hands, none of it makes sense. I don't know what it is, but that's just how I'm wired. And, every time people are like, oh, well, here, we're going to send you, even with work, we got so many different manuals and sheets on how to do certain procedures on everything. And it's like, I read over them to get the idea, but until I tear something apart, does it all kind of click and make sense? And I'm sure there's many other of you out there the same way, but that's just how I am. Instructions are not are not one of my my go-tos. I'll just say that. Wait a minute. I never understood some of the design. That should be part of an intro. What? You know, TRs and yeah, get RTR. Well, you know, absolutely. See, I knew I'm not the only person. It's like I cannot do instructions. It drives me crazy. I just want to tear into it and figure it out and understand it how I understand it and work on it. Because, you know, a lot of times you can come up with other little ideas and on ways of doing things that way too. Yeah, Froggy, maybe we could do something like that. I'm sure Chad, I'm sure I could make that into some sort of intro somehow. But yeah, guys, I mean, like today, I don't know if any of you guys that are on here are also on my Instagram, but I posted up a picture. The Traxxas sledge has been driving me crazy with the body. And I know Garage Life RC is in here, and he sent me a picture of his mod that he did. But I got tired of the Traxxas sledge body flying off every time. I had such high hopes for that body that it was going to be awesome to not have body clips and slide it on and snap, you're done, and go have fun. And it was a total letdown. I mean, that body flies off all the time. I get maybe 1-2 jumps out of it, and the body is airborne. I mean, and I don't know if Commander's still in here, but I was just watching Commander A-Stig's video this morning, and one of his first jumps, the car goes off, and the body goes flying off in a whole other direction. It's like the bodies were annoying. So anyway, I was sitting there looking at the Traxxas sledge this morning. I'm like, I got to find a way to keep this body on here. And what I did, I don't think I have a picture of it still on here. Let me take a look. No, I don't. Anyway, I posted up on Instagram, and what I ended up doing back here on the sledge. Now I know this isn't the sledge, but they have that plastic rail here with a body clip snap in. Well, I took a piece, a long screw. I made a video on it. You guys will see it coming up here. But I put a one long type hollowed bolt, a threaded nut, or bolt down in here that's hollow on the top from an Arma car for this center brace. Lined it up, drilled everything out, and put it all together. And now the body locks in, and I got one pin that locks it in place, and the body cannot move at all. And now the body will not go flying off. So I sat there, tinkering around with it for like an hour this morning, trying some different ideas and some different things, and eventually came up with that. And I'm sure somebody else will come up with another idea or, you know, refine my idea. And but I put it together this morning, and I'm really happy with it. It came out awesome. And the body won't be flying off the sledge anymore, which is great because I got tired of retrieving that thing constantly. It's Armor copy anyway. What's up, Artificial? You talking about the sledge? When are we going to see it rip? Well, I just pulled her out of the box an hour and 8 minutes ago. So I'm planning to either head out sometime either this week or this weekend. Talk with Trevor here, and maybe we'll bust out the ramp. Or I'm going to try to see if we can maybe make it down to the BMX track or even the motocross track. But the weekends, the motocross track are always chalked because they're always holding practices and races down there, obviously, on the weekend. So the motocross track usually has to be hit during the week. And during the week, a lot of times the BMX track is chalked because they're holding practices and races down there. You got to kind of bounce back and forth depending on the day on where you can go. And the skate parks are always up in the air. I really want to go down to the bigger skate park, but it's rough because, you know, it's almost an hour away, and then we get down there, and then you run into, you know, the big skate park. So you get down there, there's like 15, 20 people down there running around, and you can't really do anything. And now you just wasted 2 hours driving around, which kind of stinks. Okay, Eric. Yeah, so you've probably seen the picture I put up of a single little post on the sledge. Yeah, I mean, hold on. Close to the same design. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and but it was an argument as soon as the sledge came out, guys, that it's like, oh, Traxxas copied Arma. Now, it's kind of hard. Now, I know there's a lot of characteristics and it has a very similar styling to it, and I get that. But it's kind of hard to make a Truggy not look like something that's already there. But I mean, Traxxas did put definitely their own thought into it and their own design with A-arms and their motor mod setup, which their stock motor mod setup was, I'll be nice and just say that it was not good. Luckily, M2C Racing came up with a fix for that. But, you know, I mean, it's kind of hard to make any Truggy that's not going to look similar. But their wing design and some stuff, they definitely made them look a lot alike. I get it. But Traxxas did put their own thought into it. My biggest beef with Traxxas was the drivetrain. I mean, the drivetrain in that thing was just a huge letdown. I mean, the differentials and the monkey metal that they put together on that thing was not what I was hoping for. But, you know, like, again, I don't want to get into all this all over again. But, you know, I mean, all the cars, everything needs help and needs work out of the box. And that was definitely one of the Traxxas things. Is there plastic on this body? I was going to say, I didn't think there was another layer of plastic. It must have been plastic laying on there. But we're not going to get into the sledge and all that stuff conversation. But today we're just kind of going over the new Outcast. And we're going to go out and have some fun with this and a new car to the channel here. And should be fun. And I'm going to get the new M2C Racing brace for the bottom of it, get it mounted up on here, and see what this thing can do. I'm sure it should be some fun. Close, even close to the same design. Another cut. Yeah, I know. It's their version of what's popular. Yeah. As far as the 3S and 4S between like the Typhon or Granite, the difference between the 3S, I mean, there's a huge difference in power, honestly, between the 3S and 4S line. And the immediate difference between the 3S and 4S line is your suspension and A-arms. I mean, with the 4S line now, having the actual aluminum big bore shocks is a huge improvement over the plastic ones that they had on the first version of it. So anywhere I can maybe be able to sell an Outcast 8SXB with a mech. Yeah, I mean, I would probably post it up on a Facebook group somewhere or your marketplace local, but I would just be careful. You know, anywhere you sell those things and stuff, like I post stuff up, I will not, unless I know somebody very well from the channel or something else, I will not ship a car or do anything with that unless it is face-to-face cash. Because that's all you see constantly on the Facebook groups is everybody complaining that they got scammed, that, you know, they shipped them the car and then they used some weird payment method and they got scammed out of the car and the money and this and that. I won't do it. Unless I know somebody and been on the channel for a long time, I will not ship a car and trust anybody. Unfortunately, the day and age of things, you know, everybody's always trying to scam somebody out of something and find an easy way to make money. And so, like, whenever I sold my Rift, I sold it locally. And I put right on the listing, I said, will not ship, have to meet local. I don't care if somebody didn't buy it for a year. I didn't have to sell it, but was, you know, getting rid of it. And luckily I found somebody local and, you know, we met face to face. He checked it out. He drove it. He was happy. Onwards and gone. So that's what I would highly suggest with anything. Yes, exactly. No cash, no bash. Unless you're going to meet me face to face with cash, you ain't bashing, buddy. What's in the box? How's it going, bud? Thanks for dropping in, man. Also, guys, I do still have some of those stickers, the no cash, no bash stickers. If anybody's interested in one of those, also drop me your address and your email address, and I'll send you one out. I think I don't have many left, but there's a couple still left. So whoever sends me an email, if you want one of those stickers, I'll ship them out to you. Yeah, just list it on a Facebook marketplace locally and just beat people face to face. It's the best bet. Yeah, I don't know. You know, the other thing I'm working on, I know I don't get a ton of stuff, and like everybody's not trying to go out and find a Bars&tone t-shirt or sticker. I have the market, or the merch store thing attached to a lot of my videos. But I am kind of a secondary company that basically everything's produced as needed. And, if anybody does want stickers from them or t-shirts, on most of my bash videos, I have, the swag and stickers link down in there. But the no cash, no bash stickers, I just got made, and anybody who was wanting one, I send them out. Like I said, guys, this wasn't about, everybody who was starting this channel was not about making money. I enjoy, anybody that supports the channel, I highly appreciate it, because, anything that anybody does ever donate or, does stuff, or even, the monetization on this channel goes back into cars we go out and have fun with. And I try to put out as much content for anybody else to enjoy and, come along and watching. So, I know some of these guys in here, I got a few guys that are members on the channels. I always appreciate that stuff. It's really cool. This whole YouTube thing has been a blast, and it's been great getting to talk to and meet a lot of people, and expanding the channel as it goes. All of it goes back in the channel. No giant YouTube. Not a huge YouTube, but it's a lot of fun, and it's still nice getting to be able to talk to a lot of people one-on-one in the comments on videos, and it's been a good time. You just got to keep yourself out of the whatever you want to call them, the haters type people. A lot of people like dropping in the comments and just saying stupid things. It's like literally people. I think sometimes people like write down as many stupid comments as they could possibly come up with, drop them in a bag, and pull one out and decide to say, all right, this is what I'm going to drop in this dude's comment today, because half the times that he doesn't even make sense. Hey, what's in the box, RC? I wasn't asking for super chats, dude, but I really, really appreciate that, buddy. That's awesome. I think I can count on one hand the amount of times I've ever had anybody drop a super chat thing in the comments, and I really, really appreciate that, buddy. That will be going into some parts for a car, and I really appreciate that a lot. That's awesome, man. Because, yeah, we do have some other plans for this. We're going to run the 4S system in this thing for a while. I know that, is it RC Dude? Might be RC Dude 81. Somebody who was just talking about they're putting in a larger ESC in here, but I think with a stock motor. And I have some 6S ESCs and stuff like that. And we're going to see how it goes. I know that the 4S line and the drivetrain in here, I don't want to kill it. I don't want to run into, I don't want to have it as a one-hit wonder, being able to go out there and run it one time and destroying the diffs. I think you guys know that enough about me and how I try to keep the cars at a power level that is able to actually stay, reliable in the car. The 6S line, most of the times, with the Max 6 combo with the 1650 seems to be a great pair for that. And the 4S line, I know a lot of people like dropping in some crazy power systems, and I get it. It's fun getting these smaller cars just absolutely flying. But we'll see how this holds up and how much power this has by cranking up the punch. But I could always tinker with, because I'm assuming this has the 2050. What motor's in here? Oh, this has the 24. Wow. Well, this got the 2400 kV motor. So this thing should definitely, it's got some R's to it, because obviously the higher the kV motor, the higher the RPMs, but you got to watch your gearing more. And I know that question gets asked a lot. I see people asking that question a ton of times with motors, lower kV versus higher kV, what's the difference? The lower kV motors, you got more torque, more low end power, but to get the speeds, you got to gear them up higher, in order to get any top speed, any wheel speed out of them. Now, the higher kV motors, they're already turning a lot higher RPMs, so you don't have to gear them up as much. But as soon as you do start gearing them up, you really got to watch your temperatures, because, you can start overheating them very easily. So that's definitely one thing to keep an eye at. Comes with the Max 8 Gen. You know what? That would probably do right there, Addicted. That might be a great combo for these cars, too. is that new Max 8, the Gen 2 combo. Now, I've been seeing a lot of those things catch fire. Now, I don't know if it's just because everybody, the minute that one catches fire, everybody wants to post a video up because it's new. But, everybody also said that every castle system catches fire. Now, I did have one in my Limitless obviously catch fire, but the one in my Outcast has been a tank. And I mean, I have beat the snot. Wait till you guys see the video coming up with the Outcast 8S EXP, guys. We were sending that thing. I never honestly thought I was be able to launch a 5th scale like that. And we were ripping that thing off of Trevor's ramp. And guys, I mean, that thing was just flying. But I mean, castle system that's in my Outcast 8S has been super reliable. I mean, that thing's been awesome. And I'm still running it censored. And again, what's in the box, RC? I just want to say I really appreciate it again, buddy. Yes, I know everybody called them as a castle cremations for the longest time, but that 2500 kV, that Gen 2 or the Max 8 Gen 2 might be a fun system in there. 3200 for the 3S, 24 for the 4S. Yeah, the higher KVs on the 3S line, obviously, because you're obviously having a little bit lighter car. You can run the higher KVs. Usually, typically, the heavier the car, the lower the KV, just so that, you got to have some torque to drive those things around. And that's why, like, in my Outcast 8S, I'm running the 1100 kV in there. And I have the 800 kV Max 5 combo in my Creighton 8S. And, I mean, the 800 and 1100 kV in the 5th scales are a great setup for those cars. They're heavier, they're big, and they got that torque, but yet you can gear them up a bit and kind of find that nice line with gearing with the lower KVs where you can still get enough speed to be able to send them and get the rotation and air correction. But, you're not overheating them, and they can rip those big cars around pretty well. When and where did you get the Axial shirt? This I got, this I got about a year ago. I want to say I got this at some hobby shop I was at. Whenever I was on the road, traveling all the time, I was at some hobby shop, I think out in California. And I was in there looking around at stuff, and I think I picked up something else at the time. But at any rate, I see this Axial shirt, and it was cool. So I always tend to find, I was down at another hobby shop locally to me yesterday when I was coming back from a work call. And I was in there looking around, and I was hoping to find an Arma hat, but all they had was Traxxas hats. And I don't hate Traxxas, but I was preferring to find an Arma hat, but they didn't have any, unfortunately. What's up, NBRC? How's it going, buddy? Hi. How's it going, man? I really appreciate the likes, guys. We got 53 likes in here, and I've been ravaging around 40 people. Really appreciate everybody stopping in and giving a thumbs up on the video. I really appreciate it. Like I told everybody, once I came off the road, I wanted to start being able to try and do a little more lives and sit here and chat with people. Just kind of do stuff like this, some unboxings, maybe some new products coming out, or maybe something exciting, coming to the line. And it's been really fun kind of doing this. And like I said, guys, any guys that are just tuning in that missed the little Arma Felony Christmas ornament giveaway, I gave 2 of them away today, and I'll be giving 2 more away this weekend. We'll do another live stream, maybe a later evening chat, and I'll be giving away 2 more of those because I can probably even get some more of them from my local hobby shop here because he wanted to give me all of them, but I didn't want to be that person taking all of them. I said, I'll grab 4 of them, and it might be fun. It'd be cool to give away, during a live. So we're up to 50. Oh, now I'm kicking the camera. This live. What's up here? How's it going, buddy? Thank you for stopping in, man. Yeah, Struckiness and Black Sheep. If you're still in here, don't forget to shoot me an email if you haven't already with your email address, and I will, or not your email address, but your home address, and I will throw those in the mail this week. Probably tomorrow. I'll stop down to the post office and get them out to you. What else we got going on in here? What the WTF? We are the. Not sure. Thank you, Froggy. Appreciate it. The Creighton 6S, a good RC truck to have because that's what I had. I love the Creighton 6S. I think we talked about this on one of the other lives, or I know I put together videos. But the Creighton 6S is an awesome truck, and I just put, like I said, just put together that video that I put out today. You know, kind of the differences between the Creighton 6S and the new Traxxas Sledge, and my dislikes and likes of both cars. The Creighton 6S is an awesome platform, especially for the price. You know, you can get those cars, at least here in the U.S., you know, for around $549. And the only weakness of them is the differential, especially the rear differential case. And I'll say the differential case because the plastic diff case on those things, if you're doing heavy bashing especially, but the first thing you want to do when you get a Creighton 6S is pull the rear differential case cup off and shim the thing. Make sure that the differential is shimmed. And if you don't know what that is, sorry, making sure that I don't have a call for work. But if you don't know what shimming your differential is, search. I have some videos on my channel, and you can search on YouTube here. You know how to shim a Creighton 6S line or any of the Arma 6S line. They're all the same. And make sure it's shimmed, because if you got any play in that rear diff, you're going to strip the rear diff gears on it in no time, and that's always a common issue with all the Creightons and the Outcast and any of them. You have to shim the differentials in them. But the best upgrade you can do to the Creighton 6S is put aluminum differential case, especially on the rear. If you want to go all out, put one on the front too, great. But I put the hot racing diff cases on the rear of all mine, and after putting the aluminum differential case on them and shimming them, I rarely ever have issues with the diffs. I mean, they hold up very, very, very well. So that would be my biggest thing with any Creighton is, or any 6S car, is to shim it or get an aluminum diff case for like $55 from Hot Racing and do that upgrade to it, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches down the line. Sledge or Creighton? For me, it's the Sledge, but both are cool rigs. Well, yeah, I don't know what. Both cars are great, and that's just exactly why I put the video out today. What's in the box was this whole thing about my beef with the Sledge, and we'll kind of just lightly touch on the video that I put out today. But my problem with the Sledge is the price tag for what you get. The Sledge is a great car. I have a ton of fun with the treads. I love it. Would I buy it again? Yes, I probably would. However, for $800, Traxxas should have put better differentials gears in that car. They put that same monkey metal in there that you have in all the other cars. And for a Creighton you can buy for $550, for the $250 more that you pay for the Sledge, they should have had the proper metal in that thing and not basically made everybody spend another $50 or $60 per diff to put the proper stuff in there. Now, I know all the cars do that. The Creightons also have, pretty much monkey metal diffs, but the car's $250 cheaper. So that's my line and my problem with the Sledge. I like the Sledge. It's fun. I like a lot of things they did do it. I mean, the A-arms that they put on that car are some of the best I've ever seen on any car. The suspension's awesome on it and durable. I like the battery cases on the Sledge. There's a lot of things I love about the Sledge. If Traxxas had just put the better gears in that differentials from the start, I would have a whole different feeling about that car. But unfortunately, they didn't. Put on this thing, too much aluminum parts. Shell's input on such thing as too much aluminum parts on an RC. Is there such thing as too much aluminum on an RC? Yes. There's a certain line that, now I'm going to come from the basher point of view. I'm not talking about a street car, the one that you just run on the street. But coming from a basher point of view, there's number one. Hold on. I'm going to have a drink of my Red Bull here. And I just think Number one thing you should never put on any basher, and then we'll speak of the Outcast here right now with the plastic chassis. Don't ever put aluminum A-arms on a basher. Worst thing in the world you could possibly do to a car. Every car has to have weak points. And you guys, I'm sure a lot of you guys watch, Kevin Talbot, and he's a big promoter of this, every car, they have to have some weak points. There has to be something, because any car on a nasty landing or a huge jump, there has to be something that's going to give. Now, the goal is that when you do break something, it's something minor, because no matter what, you were never, ever, ever going to make a car 100% bulletproof. There's always stuff that's going to break. The A-arms, though, are the worst idea in the world on whoever started making aluminum A-arms, especially if you're using it as a basher. I never understood that, because now when you crash, rather than the A-arm snapping off and you breaking, a $10, $12 A-arm, the A-arm's not breaking, but now it is now either bending or snapping your chassis, because something's going to give. Usually the hinge pins, unless the hinge pins are cheap, the hinge pins aren't. And I've seen so many times people busting the chassis on their 4S or 3S line because they put aluminum A-arms on them. They're just not meant to be there. If you're going to run that car 100% of the time on the street, you know what, and you want it shiny and it to look cool, I get it. Yeah, fine. But if you were going to jump that car, avoid aluminum A-arms. As far as like on the 6S line, still, I would never put aluminum A-arms on it. But the big thing is, like, what I've always done with pretty much all of my cars is ran them, found the weak spots, and upgraded those with either the lightest aluminum pieces or only put the aluminum where it's a necessity for my uses. Now, what I might put on my cars, some people might think, well, that's adding extra weight. Why you put that there? I had this question just like on the X-Max, for instance. Okay, so the X-Max, I was adding all kinds of stuff, and after I put that Max 5 combo in there with the 1100 kV motor, the X-Max was flying. I was able to jump that thing and send that thing further than I ever did. Now, when I started doing that, it was fun. However, now the car, rather than dropping from 20 feet in the air, it was now dropping from 40 plus feet in the air. And I am now busting the chassis constantly. I'm buckling the inside of it. So, M2C Racing put out the motor mount design and the whole top plate and all the stuff on there to help brace that. And everybody's like, oh, you're adding too much weight to the X-Max. No, it had to go in place at that point, because whenever you're going to start breaking, I'm not going to go out there and every time jump the car and snap the chassis in half. It was getting ridiculous. So, it all depends on what you're doing. And that's where you need to find whatever level of bashing you're at. You need to see what you're breaking and upgrade it just because you see somebody else upgrade something doesn't mean that you need to upgrade it. Find out what things you're breaking and then start working on those pieces, because too many people automatically get a car and they're just like, oh, I'm going to get everything for this. Well, you might not need it. There's a good chance, you don't need every single part. And at this point, bashing and doing what I'm doing, I know what I need. And it's like for this car, and that's the only reason I bought this car, honestly, was because I knew M2C was making this center brace for this thing, because I know I'm going to break this chassis. I did it constantly on all of my 3S and my Creighton 4S. So once I knew that they were making that, I was like, all right, now I know that at least there's going to be something to help with snapping the chassis all the time. And it helped sell me on wanting to buy one of these. And that's why I did. But, that's one thing, guys, don't throw chucking everything aluminum on it right off the bat. Find out what you need. Find out what you're breaking, what you're commonly breaking, and go from there. On all the Armas, the biggest weak spots of the Arma 6S line, on the non-EXB version I'm speaking of. Yes, exactly, Christian. All the 4S and 3S lines, as soon as you start airing these things out, or especially skate parks, these chassis hate skate parks. They will not last very long at all. But go out there, start running them. But I mean, as far as like even on a moderate side of bashing and things on like the Creighton 6S and the 6S line that are kind of common on braking, you know, the chassis, once you start airing them out a lot, you know, the chassis on the stock Armas, even the EXB Arma chassis, they don't stay straight very long. The chassis are definitely a great upgrade. And a lot of times, you know, depending on how hard you're beating on it, the chassis is your main and only upgrade you really need to do for quite a long time. But that's only, again, if you're bending your chassis, then worry about it. If you're not, stick with your stock one until it breaks and then move on. There's no need to spend money on things. And I mean, unless you just want to put fancy stuff on your stuff, I get it. Everybody likes doing that too. But it's coming from a necessity side. You know, as you break it, upgrade it, and go from there, and just enjoy it and have fun with it. You know, guys, that's one thing. I see too many guys, you know, in the hobby and even out there that I watch other videos on. It's like there's too much other weird little drama stuff going on, and little wars going on between people, and it's like I don't understand on how this all starts taking place. You know, this is a hobby. We're having fun. It's supposed to be fun. Go out there, enjoy yourself. There's no competition with other people. There's only competition with yourself and what you want to do and how far you want to go with it. You know, you go out and jump, you know, 40 feet today, and the next time, you know, you want to go out and send this thing 50 feet, and you want to make that car a little bit stronger, go out and tinker with it, make some adjustments to it, and just have fun with it. Because that's how I started, and I refuse at this point to try to get mixed up with anybody else's goofiness going on. And anybody that ever comes into this channel and starts any amount of drama, they will be blocked faster than you can say bars and tone, because I have no part of it. I just want to have fun with the hobby, and I enjoy. It seems like, you know, 99.9% of everybody I get to in the comments, everybody's in here for the same reason. They just want to have fun, enjoy themselves, and go out there and have a bash and have a laugh, and that's what it's about. So that's all I can say. But yeah, again, until you break it, don't worry about upgrading it. And as you break it, then research, you know, what, you know, if you go out there and you blow apart your differential, you know, there's tons of great videos out here on YouTube and everywhere that can show you how to put the stuff together and what you need to do to fix it, make it better. And then you go ahead and upgrade it and work on it from there. I'm going to check it. I've been kind of not checking out the comments too much. I apologize, guys. Yeah, and that's exactly it. What's in the box? You know, you can take these to the skate park in any car, and that's kind of where I speak from, because you know, you can take one of these cars, you can take it to the skate park and just rip it around and have fun and not break it, and lots of cars. But you got to know their limits, and that's the big thing, is you got to know the limits of the car, and that's also kind of comes with time, with the hobby, with you know, running different cars and learning the weaknesses of them and realizing what they're capable of. Because, you know, that was the sad thing, like my Creighton 6S or my Creighton 4S, I'm sorry, the V1 Creighton 4S. So many times I took that thing to the skate park, and what I wanted to do with it, the car was not having it. I remember the one time I went to a skate park with that thing. I went and found the new skate park. It was about an hour and 10 minutes away from me. I was so excited to go down to this place. Get the Creighton out there on the skate park, rip it around a couple little circles, or kind of feeling the place out. I hit the first jump and tried to clear. I tried to come out of this bowl, jump this gap, and land down inside of another bowl. Very first jump, I cased it on the edge of the other thing, snapped the whole car right in half. My day was over right there. And it's like, I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I couldn't help myself. And that's, again, coming into play where you can't blame the car. You can't yell at the car because you go out and you do stuff like that and snap the chassis and go, oh, well, this car's junk. No, every car has their limits, and, you know, you got to kind of work and figure out how you can have the most amount of fun with that car's limits. What do I think about the aluminum rear hubs? You know, I don't think my Traxxas, my Max, I think I have to go down and look at it again, but I think my Max is the only car that I put aluminum rear hubs on. Now on the Arma 6S line, the aluminum front hubs for your pillow balls would 100% recommend, and one big reason why. And this is assuming you still have your stock plastic A-arms and not doing aluminum. But the aluminum pillow ball or aluminum knuckles for the front of the Arma 6S line, one of the most annoying things is when you have the pillow balls pull out of there all the time. And I had it happening constantly on all of my 6S cars. And I recently started putting on all the hot racing front knuckles on the 6S lines. And now the pillow balls don't pull out. Now, I haven't started experiencing any more problems anywhere else. Like, it doesn't seem to be transferring any problems to any other part of the car, like breaking something else. Because that is one thing when you start adding aluminum to certain parts of the car. Like I said, you start transferring that energy to something else. And you start breaking something else. Now, the front knuckles, I would 100% recommend changing out on any of the Arma 6S line. The rears, I honestly wouldn't worry about it. Guys, I mean, any of you guys that watched my videos, and as far as how I'm bashing and what I'm doing with them, I think I have ever broken maybe 2 rear hubs on any of my Arma cars. It is not a normal thing to break unless you are doing a really, really nasty crash. And then it's like you can't really blame that on the part. That's just things happen. But the fronts, yes, keep those pillow balls from pulling out all the time. Definitely highly recommend those on any of the 6S cars. Trust me, I learn every time we go. See, Trevor, guys, you know, Trevor's comes out and has been running. And as you guys will see in the videos coming up that me and Trevor went out and did with his ramp the other day over the weekend. You know, Trevor's figuring out, and we've been talking, you know, and like anytime I can ever obviously give him any advice. But, you know, people can tell you all the time, oh, you know, you got to hit the brake now. You got to hit the gas now. Don't do this. Don't do that. But you got to do it yourself. You know, I mean, people asked me before about like, oh, is there training videos on how to drive an RC? I don't think that that's possible. Honestly, I don't think it's possible to put together a video on how to drive an RC car because it is all by feel and it's all by your car because every car reacts differently in the air depending on how much air control you got. But Trevor, the last video run out, guys, Trevor was out there doing mad backflips and was sticking his jumps so much better off of that ramp. He was having a blast out there. You were running, he was running his Outcast 6S. And he was pulling double backflips and just going crazy. And but he's been as you learn and as you drive more, getting that feel for the throttle control on when to let off, when to hit the brakes, when to give it more gas, you know, to try and stick those landings. Because all it is a matter of driving. Because there's no way to just know it. You just have to see it and know automatically what you need to do. And it only comes with experience. But I appreciate you dropping in, Christian. Thanks, Trevor, for chiming in with people here. Kind of nice. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, exactly, Froggy. It's hard to explain to people on how to drive. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't appreciate how hard it is sometimes actually to be able to stick these landings. You know, people go out there and see people jump, you know, and stick, you know, 2, 3, 4 backflips and land that thing on its wheels. I mean, it's quick reaction time and it's not easy. I mean, you know, I could pull off a couple backflips easy. I've pulled off a quad a couple times, but sticking that landing without it landing heavy on the front or the rear is not easy. And that definitely comes with lots of experience doing it. What's up, Jacob? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, Trevor's getting a lot better with his jumps and his air control. He's hitting that point now where he's figuring out how to stick those landings and when to use the brake or when to use the gas. Because we were having a blast. I mean, I was out there launching stuff off that ramp. I mean, and that's one thing. It's scary. But one thing I also told Trevor, because, you know, he was first jumping, you know, was hitting the smaller jumps. I said, honestly, it's easier to learn how to start jumping. Now, the outcome sometimes can obviously be worse. However, if you start jumping a little bit bigger and getting a little more air time, obviously it gives you more time to react. You know, at this point, rather than a jump only lasting, you know, a half a second, if you air that thing out and you get, you know, a second, second and a half of time in the air, it gives you more time to react and know, okay, I need to give a little more gas now, or now I need to let off the gas so it'll start to flatten out. That's another big thing is, you know, kind of crossing that line of realizing, okay, I want to jump bigger and it's going to give me more air time. And it's going to give you more time to react. So honestly, sometimes going a little bit bigger is definitely better because it gives you more time. You know, when you have the car now, like whenever I air these things out there, when I was launching a Typhon, you know, you hit 160 feet and that thing's now 40 feet in the air. You got a lot of time to be able to watch that thing and judge, all right, it's kind of in a good place to land at this point. It's coming down all right. Now, sometimes like I had experience with a Typhon during that live stream, guys, where the car just had so much time floating in the air, and I don't even know what happened, but it just coasted and turned itself upside down in the air. Not forward and backwards, but literally sideways. It just, it turned on itself, literally. So it can be bad when those things happen. Obviously, now when rather than a car dropping from, you know, 5 or 10 feet in the air, it's now, like I said, dropping from 40 feet in the air. When you don't land it, yes, the outcome is going to be worse. But yes, exactly, Jims. It barrel rolled. It literally just barrel rolled itself in the air. I don't know why. I've only ever had a car do that to me twice, I think, and that was the second time. It took off nice. It was flying nice. And then it just acted like a kite and just whoop. And I lost control. There's nothing I could do with it at that point. I tried hitting the gas, and it was too far out at that point. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Something just caught weird, and it didn't like it. But I know we have gotten all kinds of sidetracked from an unboxing video to chat, but I didn't say we were going to chat, so. But I'm super excited to run the new Outcast. I'm going to go over this thing tonight, make sure everything's tight, because a lot of times you find a lot of loose screws. That's another thing, guys. Anytime you're getting an RTR, make sure you go over all your screws. Check your wheel nuts, check all your screws on your chassis and all the important stuff, because a lot of times, you know, thing was made on a Friday and somebody just wanted to get out of there, and you find screws loose and parts start falling off. I don't know how many times, especially on the 6S line, the steering links and the toe links and stuff were never tightened down, and they're literally just flopping around on there. And you go out for your first bash, and all of a sudden now screws gone, you know, it's over really quickly. So definitely check over all those screws from the start. But yeah, Brandon, it's the new Outcast 4S, the sweet blue. This thing should be fun. A lot of guys have been really enjoying them, so I figured it was time to add a new car to the fleet. We built the last one with the Creighton, the new Creighton XL, and that car has been, after this last bash, which I guess you guys actually haven't seen yet. You know, that's another thing, guys. A lot of videos, you know, I post some stuff up sometimes, you know, either on Instagram or a community post, and they're kind of sometimes obviously a little bit ahead of themselves, because I try to go out, because depending on the week, weather, and all that stuff, I try to get videos made so at least I have, like, you know, I usually try to post a video every 2 days, every 48 hours. So I try to usually have at least a 4-day buffer, so I at least have 2 to 3 videos made in advance, so I kind of have something to work off of. So in case weather's terrible or I have a very busy week at work, that I could still kind of post on a normal schedule. Yeah, I hate to have to go. Yeah, I know. It doesn't seem right that you have to go over or ready to run. You know, that's the whole point of an RTR, is it's ready to run. However, that's not always the case. I mean, there's things loose, things not. I mean, differentials also. That's another thing. I don't know if you're still in here, who asked about, you know, things on a new Creighton's or any car for that matter. One of the first things you want to do is also pull the differentials out. I know that it's somebody maybe just getting into the hobby, it might seem a little daunting and overwhelming to do. But again, just take your time. You know, it's no big rush. You don't have to rip that thing apart. You know, take your time. You know, watch somebody's video a couple times. and pull the differentials apart and check the fluids in the diffs and in the center diffs. I don't know what's been going on recently, but I've been seeing so many posts with people posting up pictures of their center differentials melted down. The gears have just blown out the sides and melted down. And 99% of the time, that's because they never check the differential fluids in the center, front, or rear. And a lot of times from the factory, they come out of there, and some of them rolled out of there with no oil in it at all, or they're only a quarter of the way full. And well, you know, with no oil, that thing's not getting lubricated. The heat builds up, they melt down, and you're done. So one big thing I definitely suggest is checking the differentials in any car in an RTR, because a lot of times they will leave the factory with no or very minimal fluid. I've had a couple that I got that were perfect. You know, as soon as I pulled them out, I checked them, pulled them out. I checked them, and they're actually filled right where they were supposed to be. And other ones I had, literally, it looked like somebody just dropped a few drops in there and called it good for the day because there was nothing in there. So you got to be careful with it. You know, always good to check over your shocks. Make sure your shock fluids are filled up to the top, because a lot of times they do go light on your shocks. And make sure that they're actually topped off and you're actually getting the dampening you're supposed to on them, because you know, the shocks are only halfway filled. You know, obviously once you get past that halfway stroke, now your shocks are slamming and bottoming out too easy. Wow, guys, I gotta say, I really, really appreciate you guys have been killing it in here with the likes. I mean, you know, I just doing the chat here and looking through some stuff, and really, really appreciate everybody in here. We're up to 72 likes on this video today and been in here for 2 hours, and guys have just been amazing. And what's in the box, dropping the super chat down in there. You guys have been awesome today. Really appreciate it. But yeah, probably not going to keep up too much longer here. I don't want to make this thing much more than a couple hours long. But, you know, it's been, figured we kind of do a little live unboxing here of the new Outcast. And the next video you guys see, we'll take this thing out and give her a little bash and have some fun with it and see what it can do. I don't know if the first video will have the M2C Racing bash bar under it yet or not. We'll see how antsy I get to take this thing out. But I do appreciate everybody stopping in, but we're probably going to call this a day today. Like I said, guys, we will be doing another video this weekend, and I'll be giving away a couple more of these Arma Felony Christmas ornaments. Pretty cool. And I'll get these two sent out to Black Sheep and Struckiness, I believe. Yes, on the ones from today. But I really appreciate everybody stopping in today. I really do, guys. And thanks for coming along for a little unboxing of the new Outcast for us. But I think we're going to call it, guys. And if anybody, like I said, I dropped my email address up near the top during the giveaway, so you guys can, guys that won the ornaments, drop me a thank you, Stuart. Drop me your address, and I will get those ones out. Yeah, man, I can't type right now. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go finish up a few things. And I got some emails apparently I got to reply to. So that's going to do it, guys. Appreciate it. And thanks for all stopping by. And I'll catch you on the next one sometime this weekend. We'll do another live and maybe have a little chat session and maybe after a run with this thing. But that is going to do it. So until next time, you all be safe. Be careful out there. Peace out, everybody. Thank you all.